Hey, welcome back to Aaron is Perfect. This is episode 7. Yes, hello, and welcome back to this thing, whatever this thing is. Me speaking. Welcome back to me speaking. This is episode 7, and yeah, there's been some developments when it comes to this podcast, and those developments come in the form of people actually reaching out to me on email. So that's fucking cool. 2 people. Thanks, guys. Really appreciate it for you guys to do that. I know that I'm actively jokingly calling people out for not doing it, but it is a joke. And I think you get that. But people reached out anyway and gave me some great suggestions for topics and future shows and shit. And I think I might touch on some of it. Some of it's a little more complicated, which is awesome. The fact that people want to know some of the intimate details about my history and my past, I think is amazing. Because realistically, that's where this sort of is, or what this is loosely based around is what got me to where I am now doing this podcast and just in my life. So yeah, thanks. It's weird. It's weird to see people come out of the woodwork, especially people who I haven't seen for a bazillion years. It's awesome. So thank you. Thanks for tuning in, mostly, and also thanks for reaching out. It's really cool to talk about these things in a different format than just on a podcast, but I actually get to have these conversations, so it's pretty cool. So I'm going to get to some of those things a little bit later on. Talk about some other things on my mind right now, and yeah. But I had to make sure that I acknowledged that was fucking cool as shit, man. It's cool as shit to wake up to an email on that in that email address or in that email account. And that isn't just hey, upgrade your LinkedIn account, or have you ever thought about YouTube Premium? It's nice to not have to worry about that shit and open it up and see the name of a friend and be like, oh fuck, someone cares. They really do care. Anyway, so that's cool. I'll talk about it more later. But if you're not watching and you're only listening, I'm wearing a different shirt than I've worn. This is a new shirt, not to me, but a new shirt for the podcast. This shirt is my number 1 favorite shirt in the world. And there's a couple of reasons for that. But the reason I haven't worn it on the podcast yet is because it's starting to die. It's the letters are starting to crack on it, and it's starting to fade. So I want to limit the miles on it. I don't want to put so many more miles on it because I really love this shirt. And this shirt, obviously, if you can see it, you can see that it says "Everyone I Love is here." And I actually got this made into a tattoo, and it's literally underneath the logo here, and it says "Everyone I Love is here," and it's tattooed on my chest over my heart, which I thought was really cute and sweet because that's who I am, because I'm a cute, sweet guy. And the idea for this shirt came from a Discord group that I'm part of, which I know a couple of the people who are part of that group watch this podcast, so hi. And I'll go through a little bit about what this sentiment and this shirt and the whole thing kind of means to me. So early on in the pandemic, just like everyone else, there were a few sort of tense moments between friends and family members. I think everybody struggled with this. the polarization of this particular thing that went on of COVID and how it became politicized and one of the most polarizing topics I think we've dealt with as a culture lately. And it's really sort of changed the social landscape, and it's made it very difficult to navigate new social interactions, but also old social interactions as well, because you don't know what kind of wavelength some of your old friends are on. And early on, I think, because we didn't know how to navigate that properly, we lost friends, we lost family members. Not dead. I mean, that happened too, but we lost in a sense where we couldn't agree, we couldn't find common ground, and the friendship fizzled away. Or, maybe you needed to set it aside for a little while. Whatever. A couple of those things happened at the beginning of the pandemic for me. What also happened was one of my favorite comedians got canceled for being a weirdo. And I should clear the air on that, because in my opinion, and I know this is another polarizing topic if you're a fan of this or was a fan of this comedian, the real information allegedly came to light, and now for me, I'm still a fan, and it's kind of a controversial topic, so I'm not going to go into who it is and what that's all about. But either way, the person got canceled right at the beginning of the pandemic. Everyone's losing friends. Obviously, there's like an issue. Everyone's got these like issues with their mental health because we don't know what the fuck is going on. People are dying, and it was a fucking hard time for everybody. It still is kind of hard, but nowhere near as difficult as it was at the beginning when everybody was so unaware of what was going to happen, and so that was kind of traumatic for myself and quite a few other people. And plus, like this person, this kind of icon that I looked up to, was getting like just trashed. And that was basically over a year. You have these friends doing these, what I would consider to be silly things and making mistakes and, and, just not communicating with them anymore. And my favorite comedian, the combination sucked. And then the comedian decided to come back out and be like, here, this is everything that happened, and now is part of, the comedic society again. But in between all of that, once he came back, he created a Patreon and a Discord. If you know me, you obviously know who I'm talking about. But and I jumped on, I got onto the Patreon, started watching all of his stuff again, and then I subscribed to the Discord channel, but I didn't really interact in any way. I just kind of, because I actually didn't know anything about Discord. I'd never used it before in my life, but it came with the Patreon thing, so I'm like, fuck, I might as well tune in and see what happens. And then, so it was probably like 2 or 3 months that I didn't even interact. I would glance in there every so often, and once in a while I might like poke in and say something, and then the people would be like, who the fuck are you? I'm like, I don't know. And I just run away. But then after a little bit, I started to kind of engage. And it got to the point where I was engaging every day. And I was talking to these people. And then I got to know them by name. And then it formulated this really strong friendship with, I don't know, 7 or 8 to 11 other people. I can't count. I have a horrible ability to count without actually counting. But a group of people that I would consider to have sort of saved me from some serious mental health dilemmas that I was going through, especially when it was associated to friendships. And it's hard because you look at digital friendships and you go, fuck, okay, well, there's only so much that you can give to that type of friendship. But we were in the VC, which is if you don't know what that is, it's the video chat where we actually see each other and we talk, and we would spend hours on there. And we don't do it as much anymore. And I think it's probably based off the fact that we know each other well enough. We don't have to keep in constant contact. But that was like really fucking important to me as an individual, and I know it was important to a lot of the other members of the group as well. And so that one of the main characters on this Discord has a clothing company. I'll put their logo somewhere because it's a fucking wicked company. Maybe I'll link. I'll try and link if I can remember to do it. I'll try and link their brand or their website on the podcast because it's unreal. The brand is called As Is, and it's fucking, the stuff is really cool. I love it. I'm a huge fan. But they created this, and it says "Everyone I Love is here," and it was created for our Discord group. And it meant, like, the sentiment means a lot just in general, right? Everyone I love is here, you know? And because it's over your heart, I had to get it tattooed because it's like everyone I love is in my heart or whatever. And the tattoo actually has a little heart above it. So that's the history of the shirt. And my, you know, it's a big part of the last couple of years for me. This is like, you know, instead of my 2 years of COVID being like absolute peril and trying to navigate, you know, being a father in a, you know, in a worldwide pandemic, it really helped a lot, you guys. If you're watching this and you're part of that, fuck yeah, you know? And I know we all feel the same about this whole thing, but I just need to, like, make sure that you know, fully understand. I'm not as active in there anymore, but I still feel the exact same way that I have been over the last year. It saved my fucking life, and at least my mentality. It really helped just add so much more positivity to a time that was dark and horrible and negative. And thank you. So thank you for, you know, taking me in, as it were, and raising me like your own. Thanks for doing that. And I fucking love you guys. You guys rule. And you know, I appreciate anybody who's watching this podcast and has reached out to me over the last couple weeks just based on the podcast alone. It's fucking wicked, man. It's changed things for me a little bit, and it's you know, it's small. I don't have like a giant following or anything, but the people who have tagged on and like stuck with it over the last 7 episodes or 6 episodes, like I can't, like, I'm still fucking in awe of it because it's not like you're just watching, you know, you're communicating with me, and you're sharing your same stories, or you're sharing your connection to some of the things that I've been dealing with over my lifetime. And it's fucking wicked, man. I'll stop indulging this part of the conversation because I'm just talking about my fucking, you know, the respect I'm getting from my friends. It's fucking awesome. So thank you. But yeah, this is my favorite #1 shirt, and I figured I should probably continue the shirt saga because it seems to be a popular thing. For this podcast, it seems to be something that people like to hear about. So, shirt again. Even though the last episode was called "The Shirt That Keeps on Shirting," this one won't be called that. This will be called something else, but we'll figure it out. You know what I fucking... There's something that drives me nuts. I drive into work every day and I listen to the radio, but I don't listen to music. I listen to talk radio, and it's like it's a radio station that is like somewhat political. It's basically just like news radio is the idea, but there's like shows and stuff, and they address specific topics and whatever. So I listen to that, or I sit and talk to myself to like prepare myself for this type of thing. And I don't mind news radio, but what I really love is the commercials. Because they are so... Some of them are so fucking cringy. There's obvious, like, the big commercials, like Spotify commercial or like a fucking, I don't know, Apple or something like that are worldwide. But then you get the fucking local commercials. The local commercials, are the essence of life. They are just my favorite fucking thing in the world, especially when they come up with like a slogan or like a style and they roll with it for every fucking commercial. Like I'll give you an example. I can't remember exactly. There's one. I can't remember the brand, but it doesn't even matter. I probably shouldn't talk about the brand anyway. But it's this like rough sounding kind of Italian dude, and he's like, talking about whatever he's selling. And at the end of this commercial, he has this like sort of like jovial, guttural, like belly laugh that's like, wow, like it's convincing, and it makes me go, hey, that sounds nice. Like the guy is obviously having a good time, probably just shooting the commercial in general, but also maybe he's just a happy-go-lucky guy. You know what? Maybe I want to meet this guy. Maybe I want to go buy some shit from him. Who knows? But my favorite thing about this is the follow-up commercial after it, because it's loud fucking vehicles outside. That's not even a vehicle. That's so we have God damn it. Yeah, I don't know if you guys can hear this, but I drove in this morning and there's we have like a concrete slab in front of one of our warehouses that has a railing around it, and there was a guy pulling the railing off because it's broken to shit. But it sounds like maybe now he's jackhammering the fucking concrete slab apart. That's good for a podcast. If there's something that's good for a podcast, it's the sound of jackhammering in between me speaking. It's basically just like me speaking, which is just like an iota better than hearing just jackhammering by itself. But now you get both. So enjoy that shit. But anyway, the follow-up commercial was like the same style of commercial, maybe like an element of him trying a little bit harder, but that he got feedback about that fucking guttural laugh. And then, for whatever reason, one time wasn't enough. So he tried very hard to replicate it. So he replicated the laugh. And if anybody knows anything about trying to replicate authenticity, if you don't have any sort of acting experience, it is going to sound like you're forcing it. And fuck does it ever. So the first version of the commercial, I'm like hooked. I'm like, oh yeah, this guy's probably really nice in real life. He sounds funny. He sounds like he's genuinely happy. He sounds like someone I want to fucking buy, I don't know, tea towels from. And then the second commercial, I'm like, this guy's full of shit. He probably doesn't even have tea towels, And that is where I hold my tears of respect are in tea towels. This man is a level, like he started at level 7 to 8 tea towel salesman, and now he's like a fucking level 2. He fucking pulled it right down with that fake, disgenuine laughter. Disgenuous? My lack of education is showing. Oh, now they're sawing something. I hope that gets louder, I hope it's picked up. I'm talking through what's called a shotgun mic, so it is very directional. There's a pretty good chance that you guys can't hear what I'm hearing, but it's loud as shit. Sorry for the mouth noises. Here, you know what? Let me just drink some coffee, and then you can. Then I kick the camera too. For fuck's sakes, dude. Fuck's sakes. Okay, here we go. You ready? Did not expect to make that noise. But I don't care about anything about that. I don't care about anything about that. I don't care about any particular part of that one very specific thing. So anyway, I love fucking commercials for that reason, because people think that they have a thing and they roll with that fucking thing. And the epitome of that shit on, if you live in the GTA, which some of you do probably and some of you don't, the one, and if you're in the area, you will understand exactly what I'm talking about when I say the words Spence Diamonds. That is the epitome of someone doing one thing in a commercial and then thinking that it's working and creating an entire evolution of that in a whole fucking just absolute mess of fucking bullshit. Basically, it started out with the main, I don't know if he's like the owner, I don't know what he is, but there is one person who made this fucking woo noise, and in one of the commercials, and yes, it was genuine, and they took that sound and they did one better. They didn't try and replicate it at first. They took the sound and they added it to every commercial. So the one successful version of it, they added it to each commercial. We're like, since that date, 30 commercials later, maybe more, because they bring out another commercial once every month or something like that. And like, it started out where the commercials were still kind of weird. Like, the main person was like insufferably fucking annoying. The person who makes that noise also speaks throughout the commercial, and it's like the most whiny fucking annoying voice in the world. Still probably going to buy things from them because just because of how insanely ridiculous this thing got. But so now they try and replicate that sound. But now they also have other people in the commercials. And there was one of these commercials, and this is like, we're talking like probably like 7 years since their original version of this little screamy thing that they did. So they've had like new people come into the commercials, and the most recent, I'll talk about the most recent one because there's been a million of these things. The most recent like theme that they're going with is there is a new, like, it's a diamond company who, oh my God, that's so loud. But they're a jewelry, basically a jeweler. And I guess there's a new person that like crafts the jewelry. I don't know what their job actually is, but they have someone new in there who is talking about their diamonds. And there is a whole commercial where it's like, hey, here's this new guy. He's going to be taking over the thing. Not talking about any products at all whatsoever. He's going to be taking over this part of the thing, and he's going to be doing this, and here he is. And like, what are you going to bring to the table? And he's like, well, you'll see in the future. Okay, what's the commercial for? And then it ends with the narrator being like, I need you to do one thing for me. Can you do this? Woo! And like, it's the most like underwhelming like version of that whatever. And then this new guy tries to do the sound, and it's also really underwhelming. And then the commercial's over, and I'm like, is the commercial about a commercial? What is the purpose of the commercial here? They like commercials to get on the radio. It's not inexpensive. It is a fucking financial venture just to get your commercial on the radio, and then you got to pay for it to stay there. What is the purpose of this one? What is its purpose? Why does that need to be there? I don't need to hear about that. I don't care about this new person. I want to know if you have the Disney diamonds on sale. That's all I care about. Not really. I don't care about that at all. If I'm going to hear your commercials, like, at least try to sell me something. I don't know what the fuck that was. And now they're like, now like there's even more evolution to this particular story. Now, we know who this new guy is, and he's taking over for like a couple of the people or something like that. And He has the ability to create new versions of rings and diamonds and shit, like as if it fucking matters, as if we need more of that shit. And I'm sure it's popular, and I think like because of how stupid and cringy the commercials are now, it has gotten a little bit better. They probably do have, just based off how stupid the fucking commercials are, they probably have a bigger audience, which I love. I think that's great. I think that's fantastic, because that's like, it's like Tim and Eric notoriety, but by accident. I love it. I'm a huge fan. But it's the funny thing about slogans, because we do that, and it's not even just a slogan. We do that just regularly, like through our conversation, just our regular conversation, everyday conversation. We have these like fucking things that we say in between, just to make fucking conversation, like the good like that type of shit. I find that it's cringy, but also like I can't help but like when somebody auto answers me or auto talks, like has some sort of fucking automatic conversation with me, I can't help but realize and recognize at that moment that it is an auto talk, and then I forget how to do it. I forget how to because I'm so focused on how they're speaking to me and the way that they're like just automatically answering whatever it is that's going on. Like the perfect example of that would be like telling people how your last 2 years have been. Because when you see someone you haven't seen for a long period of time, you're going to talk about that. Like, oh, how's it been? What have you been up to? My favorite thing is when people say, not much. It's like, dude, you're a whole person. You've definitely been doing shit. We've all been doing shit. Everybody's doing new shit. So, not much is going on. Or when someone fucks it up, like, hey, how you doing? I can't, you know what? It's so funny because that joke has been played a million times, but I always fuck it up because I always answer it correctly because my OCD brain won't let me not do it. How you doing? I'm fine. Jackhammering sound. That is so fucking distracting. If you can't hear it, it is so loud. If you can't hear it, it means my equipment is doing what I'm hoping it to do. The problem is that it's very distracting for me, so I'm losing my ability to focus on the topic at hand here. Maybe I should go out and just tell them that I'm recording a podcast right now. Just like, hey, excuse me. Yeah. And then just wait for the machine to turn off. Just like, what? And then I just wait. Oh my! I shook my phone enough. It wondered if I needed to undo some of my typing. But yeah, imagine interrupting him and being like, "Excuse me, sir. I'm actually recording a podcast next door. Would you mind stopping what you're doing for like, what do we got? And tell him like I'm at 28 minutes right now. I have another like 25 minutes to go. Like, would you mind stopping for 25 minutes?" He would definitely be like, yeah, that's fine. Of course. No problem. Sorry, Aaron. He knows my name. Yeah. What? Oh, shit. You're recording Aaron is perfect? Oh, Jesus. That happens here? Holy shit. And then I like sign his titties and stuff. It's like, oh, let me take off my reflective vest so you can sign my titties. Because that's what the world is about. It's about signing titties on you. Boo-doo. But I think probably the worst part about auto answering and just having conversations with people in general is that small talk is one of the worst things when it comes to anxiety. Because it's weird because like you have the ability to auto answer. Your brain just kind of auto answers anyway for the most part. Maybe it goes into some sort of protect mode, but you still feel anxiety. Even though you know what you're going to say, you still feel anxiety when you're talking to somebody you haven't talked to for a long time, especially like if, they've said something weird on Facebook or Instagram or like fucking they've had some like hot take that you don't agree with. and then you see them in person, you're like, oh fuck, oh no, how am I going to be able to be like a normal person? Then you're just like, yeah, not much. Yeah, no, I'm good, man. It's nice to see you. Yeah, cool. Like literally just the same shit you would have said to anybody is like, it's locked and loaded in the back of your brain, but you're like, oh fuck, what am I going to say? Oh, fine, you? I'm good. Yeah. No, it's been cool. Like, just hanging out with kids and like fucking working away, just working away. Just been working like crazy. It's been crazy at work. Fuck, like work's been nuts. Like it's been nuts at home. And we're all like, everyone's trying to blah 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 blah. We're all doing what we can, and yeah, it's too bad. And then if they dip in to like their weirdness, that's when anxiety really hits. You're like, oh fuck, now I have to have a real conversation. And then you are actively trying the entire time to shut the shit down. You're like, yeah, yep. I know it's crazy. I know, fuck. The whole time. At least that's how I've been doing it. And do you ever get yourself into a situation where you start saying shit that you don't mean? Especially when it comes to COVID, like you have a conversation with somebody that is like has an opposing opinion of yours at the moment, and you just like end up losing the ability to back your shit up because you don't want to have an argument. So you're like, yeah, I know, it's crazy, the fucking government or whatever, the fucking fucking Bill Gates and shit. Do you ever have those conversations where you're just like, okay, and you just back down because you don't want to have an argument, or you just like, I don't know. I'm like, I was being very specific there. That doesn't mean that's how I feel. Just in case you're wondering, I have my own opinions about shit, and they're constantly evolving. Once again, I'm gonna keep throwing that out there, that you can't just take this podcast for face value. You do have to have a little bit of space in your mind that this is possibly either satire, or maybe I feel a different way, or maybe I feel this way right now, but in a couple days I'll be a totally different person. That is something you need to keep in mind if you're watching this, because I don't like sticking with one thing. I like learning. I like learning about it and then going, oh, that's stupid, or oh yeah, okay, well maybe that has something to do with it. I like that. That's important to me. There is always, my opinions are fluid. And for the most part, of course there are things that I lean heavily on and probably will never stray on. But those are very specific topics, and those are not like polarizing topics. They're pretty obvious ones. And if they're not obvious to you, then you're a stupid, dummy idiot. But yeah, it's like the anxiety that I feel when I am trying to catch up with somebody I haven't seen for a long time is it's hard. It's hard to even describe it, because you sort of visualize the possibility of running into some of these types of people. At least I do. I don't know if you do or not, but even people that I like, like I'll visualize running into someone who I haven't seen for a long time. I'm like, fuck, like I really respect this person. I like this person. And then you actually fucking run into them and you're just a garbled mess of fucking, I don't even know what to say. And you probably make them dislike you because you're just such a fucking, either you're too eager about having this conversation that you just go into so many fucking details. You end up being that fucking person where you're like Bill Gates or whatever, you end up being that guy or girl. Or everything in between. It's the worst, man. It's I think real personal interaction is something that we're missing in this world, and I think that it is only made more obvious by how we interact one-on-one in real life. And I think if you were to ask someone after they had a run-in with me, or had like a conversation with me after a number of years or something, they'd probably be like, oh yeah, that guy's fucking, he's good. But What they don't realize is behind my eyeballs is that in my brain, I'm like, I don't know what the fuck to do. Like, I'm so fucking like freaked out, and like I'm trying to not auto answer the questions that I'm being asked, but I do. And then I have like way more information. Like, I saw somebody a little while ago who I love, who I think is just a wonderful human being. And I ran into them, and I hadn't seen them for years. And so we just got about talking, and this person's really cool because it is never, anytime that we have a conversation, and they've got, you know, some history of some really cool shit that they've done in their life. And the conversation, I really struggle to get it away from me. And it's not because I sit and like to talk about myself, even though I do. I try my best, especially because I know this person does this very well. They constantly ask me questions about me and what I've been doing. And I know how to talk about myself really well. I've had a lot of experience, narcissism. So I'm really good at being able to talk about me and whatever. So I have to make sure that I ask questions about this person's life and what they've been doing. And when that person is doing the same thing, I really struggle because I also love talking about me, you know? And I don't think this person necessarily does. I don't think they like talking about themselves. So they're asking me a bunch of questions, and I am fucking all answers. I have every answer, every single one, locked and loaded. When it comes to talking about me, my auto answers are on point. I have the ability to talk about me for hours, which is the purpose of this podcast. Maybe just to get that out of the way so that I'm not fucking just like constantly talking about me in the outside world. Maybe at some point I'll get sick of talking about me because I do it so much on the podcast that I'll become a better person in real life. Sorry, trying not to get the fucking weird white shit, the corners of my mouth. But anyway, so yeah, this person asked about like, you know, what I've been up to, how are the kids, how's my wife, how's everything, and I just fucking unloaded all of everything. I just said everything that I'd been doing, probably point form, and I talked about this podcast, and I gave him the name of it, and we exchanged numbers, and I fucking... I just all I did was talk about myself, and then I left that conversation being like, I suck a little bit. Didn't learn much about what that person was doing over the last 2.5 years, but fuck, does that person know everything about me? You know, my underwear is black. I'm wearing black underwear. He knows this now. This person knows this information. Either way, it was really nice. It's nice to run into people, even though, you know, I got to a point where the worst part about it is in the back of my mind the entire time I'm like, stop talking about yourself. Stop talking about yourself. But it was like I don't always want to bring people back to where they've been in case they've had a hard time. And I know there was some situations with this particular individual that, you know, were rather difficult in the last couple months. So I don't know specifics, but I wanted to make sure that I wasn't going to be bringing up anything that would upset this person. So yeah. So what I'm saying is I am a saint. I didn't want that person to feel bad. So I just fuck this fucking guy cracking apart this fucking concrete slab out back. Fuck this person. As soon as I'm done here, I'm going out and I'm going to speak my mind. You know? I'll be like, hey, don't you know who I am? I'm Santa Claus. All right, so now I'm gonna try and get to I had in the 2 emails that I got, I had a few people ask me specific questions. I don't think I can cover everything right now, but I will I'm going to try and attempt to cover a couple things. My friend Henry decided to send me a topic. It was political. We just had we're currently in the midst of a provincial election. I actually don't know when the thing is. I've already voted because I'm going to... Oh, no, it's on the 2nd of June, which I'll be away. I'll be in Florida. So I've already voted for the idiot that I think might not fuck up our country the worst, or our province the worst. But it's a provincial election, and they asked for my opinion on... he asked for my opinion on the results. I can't go into the results because I don't have that yet. But my opinion on the actual election. Before I voted, I did some research. The more research you do, the more confused you are when it comes to this. And when you have the level of cynicism rolling around in your brain that I have when it comes to politics, it is very difficult to make any sort of decision. Because for me, for a lot of people, it's very like decisive or divisive. Sorry, not decisive, divisive. It's a very like, you're either this or you're that. For me, it's like all of it is dumb. The system is so broken that nobody who actually has the ability or the heart to change shit can come even anywhere near close to making their voice heard, let alone actually get fucking elected. Anybody who is close to getting elected, even like we have the multi-party system. It's not just left and right here in Canada. We've got a couple different parties, but no, nowhere in the world gives you that ability, because regardless of our multiple party system, us as human beings still really badly need to push everything to two. No matter what, we always want to make it so that we are not that and they are not us, and there's only two. It's not a two-party system, but yes, it is in Canada. We have 4 main parties. We have the Liberals, we have the Conservatives, we have NDP, which is New Democrat, and we have Green Party. All of which don't matter at all, in my opinion, right now. Because it's a popularity contest, and it is a popularity contest to stay employed, and you're trying to get this job so you can make money. It's a job. You're looking for a job, except for the people who are looking at your CV and resume are the entire population of either the country or the province. And we all, as a collective, hire you for the job, and we pay you. And it's to the point now where there isn't necessarily a qualifications that we have to go by. We just have to go by, hey, this is what I think I'm going to do. It's like if I were to put on my resume, if I was to say I would consider myself to be a graphic designer. If you give me this job, I will do my best to be a graphic designer. I will do my best. I've never done it before, but I'll do my best to be a graphic designer. I'll do the best graphic design work that I can without any experience. Now, that being said, a lot of these politicians are, getting re-upped or whatever. They've had a couple of years experience being politicians. But what does that mean exactly? What does it mean to be a politician? Because, in my opinion, as soon as you make a topic political, you undermine it. Right? I appreciate the fact that we want to have conversations is about specific topics, and sometimes if you politicize it, it makes it bigger so you can have a bigger conversation, or at least it gives it a bigger platform. But in a lot of senses, it kind of demoralizes a topic, because then it's specifically out there to push a narrative. You know, especially when it comes to like gun violence. Yeah, I think that obviously needs, especially in the States, to be a political thing so that it has a bigger platform and people are talking about it. Also, it needs to be fucking dealt with in a political sense, because legislation needs to be passed and fixed, and that needs to go away. But there are certain other topics like gay marriage or abortion that shouldn't be political. It should just be basic human rights. So, I don't know. Politics really bother me. I have a really fucking hard time with politics, because I don't trust that any politician necessarily is going to do like even a tenth of what they say they're going to do. And nothing ever fucking changes. That being said, CERB, which is in Canada, it was basically our relief fund for COVID, saved our family significant turmoil. My wife, her job was in the trade show industry, which completely fucking died. So she lost her job, and she was like, she made more money than I do. So it was like, oh fuck, you know, and CERB dug us out of that shit and made it so that we actually were going to be okay. And, so like, that's some scary shit, right? Like, that could have been really bad, but it wasn't because of that. So there's certain things that happened, or that, you know, that are actually helpful. And I know it's from a government that, you know, that people are, I don't know, super divided on, but that helped. Like, that actually did help, like, for me. And I'm lucky. I've always been lucky. You know, even if my wife loses her job, I'm not going to die. My family, my kids aren't not going to eat. Like, they're going to be fine. Everybody's fine. I'm a privileged person, and I know that. And I know that I've, you know, even though I come from a place of, you know, somewhat humble beginnings, you know, it's not that humble. I didn't starve, you know, at least not in my early years while I was living with my family. Like, I didn't go hungry. There were definitely some sketchy moments, but like, fuck, I'm still very lucky regardless, you know? So yeah, politics are bullshit to me right now, especially over COVID, because COVID became this political movement and people were trying to get, you know, especially our current government, like our current federal government, decided to go into a fucking really expensive, what's it fucking called? Election, you know, last year. Was it last year? Well, it wasn't long ago, but just pushed it to try and get a majority government. And then we ended up exactly the same place that we were. And it was like, what the fuck was the point of that? And they were like politicizing the fact that they got us here with, you know, through the COVID thing. And it's just still like, we're so in debt, like every other country. Like, it was just more fluff, right? It's just like, okay, for fuck's sakes, like, enough. We don't need that shit. We don't need this election. We don't need whatever. We actually, here's my opinion when it comes to how I think government should be run. Everything should be open to public opinion. When there is a possibility of new legislation passed, you don't fucking put it out to the however many people, the 40 people in fucking, not Congress, I don't think that's the states, but in the cabinet or whatever. You put it out to the world and those townships, and then you set up something at town hall, and it's like, you can go in and vote for this specific thing, and then everybody votes on it, and that's what's passed. And if you don't show up and vote for it, then obviously you don't care enough to have it be anywhere near, like, to have your opinion matter. So that's That's what I think they should do. Obviously, like, you can't do that with every single thing. Like, oh, the sidewalk needs to be installed at fucking, First and Third. Like, that shit, we don't need to vote on that necessarily. That has a council, whatever. But like big things, vote on that and make it public. And when it comes to elections, like, fuck, if there was a guy that came in and was like, I'd like to do this. I'd like to do this. Not I'm going to do this. This is what our platform will be. Like, I would like to do this. These are the things that I think need some work. And I know it's going to be really hard. And I know it's going to be a giant struggle to get there. And you know what? The guy from fucking, who is, the leader from the Conservative Party or whatever, I like this part of his platform. That's really cool. That's a good idea. I'm going to hire him on. If I win, I'm going to hire him on as a fucking consultant, and we'll work together on this particular project. And we'll make that project actually come to fruition, because that's what we both fucking want. And same with this party over here. Oh, I like what they were doing with this, so I'm going to hire them on and bring them into the fold here, and we'll work together. Regardless if you, it's all about seats and shit, but regardless if this person gets a seat, I'm going to bring them on because I love their fucking policy here. If there was a party where somebody came out and fucking said something like that, I'd be all over them. That'd be it. I'm like, okay, this is a real government. This is actual communal government where people are going in and seeing specific things and finding out the people who are actually able to make these policies make sense, and they've worked hard on these policies. Bring them into the fucking fold. Don't fight with them, man. I don't want to hear another fucking politician be like, this person didn't do anything in this particular situation, and this person, like, fuck, they said they were going to help raise money for healthcare, but then they, like, fucked their boss instead. Like, I don't fucking care about that shit. They're human beings. Nobody cares. Like, just tell me what you'd like to do. Tell me the things, or let's discuss. Let's have conversations about what's wrong. Not fucking... I think you get where I'm going with this, right? The community is what matters. Not this fucking personal platform, or this fucking, like, what this person says they're going to do, and for a fact they're not going to do it. Or what this person has done to fucking ruin society. None of that shit fucking matters. Like, let's work on this shit together. Get input from the community. Get input from from the people who, like, your fucking nemesis, because for some reason, even though we're taught as, sorry, I kicked the microphone. Even though we're taught as kids that arguing and bullying each other is obviously wrong, this is the highest level job that you can have as far as public eye and public opinion. And all they do is fucking bicker back and forth and make fun of each other and fucking talk about how one person grazed another person's tits. Like, where are we? Who gives a fuck about any of that shit? That's so unimportant. Let's talk about what we're going to do as a society together to fix the fucking problems that are here. There are millions and millions and millions of fucking people that have to have their life make sense, and you need to make sure that you take care of that. Because that's why we pay you. To fix the problems. We don't pay you to fucking bicker back and forth, and like get caught for doing crack. Like, we don't care. That shit is just... And you can tell we don't care because we still fucking bring these people into the fold after they've done stupid shit. So, we don't care about that. We just want people to make a difference and work together and stop fucking with each other, because it's so unimportant and unnecessary. Anyway, that's my thoughts right now on politics. Another friend wants to hear more about my life, and which is awesome. Thank you for that, because I do like talking about my life, and I do like talking about my past. The only issue that I'm going to have is some of the things in my history when it comes to, first off, my memory, because I have a shit memory, and I've also done tons of drugs to repress, like, negative situations in my past. So a lot of that stuff I was, like, heavily under the influence in my heyday. But, like, I'll give you one story. It's kind of dark though. Should I do a dark story? I don't know. Fuck. No, I'm not gonna go down that road right now. But I've had, there's been some pretty aggressive and negative things that have happened in my life, and a lot of times they impact other people, and they have. I have maybe opposing opinions of what happened and how I feel about the situation than some others. So there's a possibility I could hurt some feelings. So I do have to be very careful about how I talk about my history and how it, because I wasn't alone. I had years where I was couch surfing, that I lived on people's couches, friends' couches, and I overstayed my welcome in quite a few different places. I lived on the street in Toronto for a little while, and I've had some fairly traumatic experiences in those days. So digging those things up is going to be difficult, because a lot of the times, like I said, I was under the influence of something, so just to like repress whatever I was feeling, and so I don't remember a lot of them really well, especially in the dark times. But let me just say this. If I didn't have those times, if I didn't have those like personal sort of atrocities, I wouldn't be where I am. And so I am grateful for them, even though they like stir up all kinds of shit for me. I'm grateful for them. It is a textbook of what not to do and how to make sure that my children are raised in such a way that they don't have to go through what I went through. At least that's what I'm trying to do. It's hard, though. Parenting is hard. If you are a parent, you understand what I'm saying. It's not easy because kids are people. Isn't that crazy? Isn't that crazy to say that? Kids are people. They are their own person, and they have their own issues, and they have their own things that they like to do, and yeah, kids are tough. And I'm not the greatest dad in the world. I have my moments where I fucking, I snap at them and shit. And I obviously don't like doing that, but it happens. So, it's tough. But yeah, let me get back to you on the personal journey shit, cuz I'd like to have some stories that are a little bit more concise, well thought out, and more interesting to you. Than just saying, oh yeah, I surfed on some couches and shit. Like there are particular moments. I just, I'm going to have to sort of rack my brain to think of something that would be good enough to say, to talk about, but also so I'm not going to hurt anybody's feelings, because I don't want to do that. I don't think that's fair. Plus, this is a comedy podcast. Hasn't it been hilarious so far? Ha! Ha ha! Drink some more of this. Oh my God, it almost choked me. But anyway, I think that's all I have for today. This one was a little bit rambly. I kind of rambled on about shit instead of being more concise. But yeah, try your best to think about what you're going to say before you say it, so that you don't auto answer. That's the moral of the story here for today's episode. Try not to auto answer. See if you can test yourself. See if the next time you run into somebody who you haven't seen for a long time, remember this first. Don't auto answer. Don't just be like, oh yeah, no, everything's good. It's fine. It's say what you mean, or deflect and ask that person questions. Yeah, I don't know. It's good. How have you been? What have you been up to? What are you doing right now? What are we doing? You want to go get a beer? Want to go get a coffee? Want to go get a sex together? That would be funny. Do that. And make sure to catch it on video, because I need to see that, because I think that'd be really funny. Hey, want to go get a sex together? Yeah. And then see what happens. Probably don't do that, though. And definitely don't say that I told you to do it. This recording is forever, isn't it? So, Everything I'm saying is fucking redundant. All right, well, we're about to hit the exact 1 hour mark, so I got to get the fuck out of here because this is certainly taking far too long to say goodbye. But I think I have a bit of a Mr. Rogers thing happening with the shirt at the beginning. Instead of like changing my shirt, I just talk about my shirt every time. So that'll be the theme for the early parts of this from now on. You had to know that at the end for some reason, and that's it. So once again, thank you so much for listening. Make sure to follow me on Instagram, where my Instagram title is Aaron_is_perfect_podcast. What the fuck? Oh, that's my alarm. Oops. And then, also, you can find me on TikTok. You can find my show on YouTube. If you're not watching it there right now, it's just Aaron is Perfect everywhere. Spotify and Apple Podcasts. And also, shoot me an email because I'll talk about your topics. I appreciate the topics that I got because they're a little bit more serious, the topics that people are sending me. But if you want to get my opinion on like the secret sauce from fucking Subway or some shit, ask me weird questions too. You can ask me about weird shit. That's my fucking wheelhouse. That's where I live. I live in weird Central. I live at the corner of Weird and Awkward Boulevard. So yeah, ask me those types of questions. But send me an email, aaronsperfect@gmail.com, AARONSPERFECT@gmail.com. Do that. Or just fucking say hi so that I know you're watching, you know? If you're sitting there in the shadows just watching and listening, just shoot me even if you want to just shoot me an email and just put a period, like people do on Facebook when they're looking for if they have a topic or something that they're interested in, they'll just put a period, as if they can't just turn on notifications for the post. They just put a period in the comments. That shit's funny to me. That just shows me that even though Facebook is an archaic, old school fucking platform, people are even older than it. That they can't jump on board with the smallest upgrade in the technology, where there is a notification button for every single post. You can even save a post. Did you know that? You can save it. You can search for it if you want to. There are so many options. Okay? Anyway, reach out to me. We can talk. I'm good at talking because I'm still fucking doing it. Anyway, bye.